Yandere curse. The belief that any Yandere game is doomed to fail. And I'm here to tell you, that's all bullshit. The Yandere curse is a lie! Hi, Charlie here, and I love the Yandere trope so much that I'm making my own Yandere game. But a lot of people believe Yandere games are doomed to fail. It goes without saying this belief largely stems from the development of Yandere Simulator. The death of this game is no stranger to controversy. I could make several videos on. Some issues I feel like are non-issues, like killing Midori as a joke in his videos, while other controversies are much more serious, like grooming allegations. There are many videos you can find that cover these topics. Today I just want to keep the focus on game development and why Yandere games seem to fail. Yandere Simulator is a project that started in 2014 and is still actively being worked on to this very day. Games take a lot of time to make. Taking years to make one game isn't outside the realm of unusual. When starting my game, Ashes to Ashes, the team and I discussed that a project like this might take a few years, especially with what a small team we are. We could still use some more volunteers if anybody's interested, by the way, wink wink. So I understand projects like this take a lot of time, but there is genuinely no reason that your development should take over a decade. I used to be a pretty big fan of Yandere Simulator, but even back then I subscribed to the theory that Yandev isn't planning to finish the game because he's worried nobody would give him any more Patreon money, which is silly because he'd get so much money by being able to sell the game. He even proved he's capable of completing the game with 1980s mode, where you are able to complete all 10 weeks and get your senpai, which I preferred over the main game because even when 1980s was in its bare bones state, I got a sense of accomplishment by beating the game. Don't get me wrong, modern is fun, but after a while of dicking around and killing random students, you kinda get bored and hop off. Your fans shouldn't be boredly dicking around with no sense of accomplishment in your game for over a decade. I feel like 1980s was what the main game should have been. The bare bones of the game, then slowly adding more. Not giving us every bell and whistle you can think of before giving us the game we were so interested in. Yandere Simulator started in 2014. The first rival wasn't added till 2020. Your fans should not wait that long, and they felt the same way. That's why many games tried and failed to give us what Yandev just wouldn't. I was originally going to go over a lot of examples, but there's genuinely so many, and so much of the drama is pretty old that it made research very difficult for me, so I'll just cover a couple. For example, Love Me and State of Limerence were two projects that started around the same time. Couldn't be further from different though, but still ended up having so much beef with each other that both projects died. Love Letter, originally known as Lovesick, is one of the first games I think of when I think about the Yandere curse. From what I remember, Love Letter existed to spite Yandev, and even used a lot of assets from Yandere Simulator. In fact, I very clearly remember a promo where their pro tag stabs Ayano.
Who even are you?
I'm Bochan! Well, that's my nickname.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm from a game called Love Letter.
Huh? I thought you were supposed to be from Lovesick.
Not anymore.
What's that in your...
Which I won't deny is a little funny in hindsight, seeing as Yansim is still alive and Love Letter isn't. There was a back and forth with Yandev, and some interpret Yandev as guilt tripping and suicide baiting, though Yandev denies that was his intention, so I'll let you be the judge of what you think of those screenshots. Some other fiascos happened, such as the person designing Love Letter's pro tag not getting proper credit, predator allegations, and the dev pretending to be two different people for some reason, and I don't remember why. Overall, it turned out Love Letter's dev wasn't exactly the best person in the world, but this led to many more Yansim type games existing just to spite Yandev, only to end up imploding on itself. While there are Yandere Simulator knockoffs that are technically done that do exist, they completely miss what made Yansim magic and don't have the same sparkle. It feels like a lot less thought and care went into them. However, with the existence of complete and damn good Yandere games like like Me-Side or Psycho no Sutaka. I'm hoping that alone proves Yandere games are not cursed. Yes, I know we have no reason to believe that Me-Side or Sutaka were inspired by Yansim, but I do feel like it would be very weird to put them in a different box. A Yandere game is a Yandere game. I think these games fail for an obvious selective reasons. Engaging and prioritizing drama will typically flop your project. People want to hear about your project, not about how shitty you think Yandere Simulator is. Sure, the drama will get eyes on you at first, but if people think all you have to offer is shit talk, they'll lose interest. I'm not saying you can't criticize Yansim. I have my own critiques of the game and the dev. Criticize any game you want, but don't make that your priority. If you're all spite with no passion, of course your project's gonna fail. I think a lot of these devs see it as competition, which is fine on paper. Healthy competition does exist, but it's of wanting to be the Yandere game instead of a Yandere game and making anyone else making a Yandere game better hop off your turf, which is dumb. The way I see it, if you like Tekken, you might be open to trying Street Fighter. You like Lethal Company? You might give Repo a try. I don't know a single person who plays only one game of a genre, especially a genre they clearly like. I see no point in being threatened by another Yandere game being developed. If you like mine, you'll probably check out theirs, and vice versa. I love Yandere games. I want to see more Yandere games get developed. There's also the matter of biting off more than you can chew with a large-scoped game. Yansim has been in development for over a decade. You aren't going to catch up to a decade's worth of work in a couple months. There's a million copycats out there. You can take inspiration, but you want to stand out. You don't want to be some cheap Yansim knockoff. For example, my game Ashes Dashes, you can play as a Yandere. It's a school setting, and you do want to win your crush's heart. That's pretty much the few things Ashes shares in common with Yansim. There may be similar mechanics, like needing to sneak around, but overall I did a lot to make the two unique from one another. For one, Ashes has always been a very gentle and cheery person. Ayano never felt anything before meeting Senpai. Ash has up to 10 love interests she can choose from. Ayano can only have eyes for Senpai. Through manipulating their life, Ash can speak to and even go on dates with her love interests. Ayano can't even speak to Senpai. Ash's parents are loan sharks and career criminals that have neglected and ignored her whole life, leading to her severe attachment issues. Ayano simply comes from a family cursed to be yanderes. Ash feels extremely guilty for her evil actions. Ayano feels nothing about her evil actions. Ash is in college. Ayano is in high school. It's complicated. Ash's setting is a modern town trapped in its history and Gothic architecture. Ayano's setting is all advanced tech and almost futuristic in some aspects. Ash's iconic weapon is scissors. Ayano seems to be knives. Make your own characters. Make your own story. Make it unique to you. Put in what's necessary to the game right now. And if you want to increase the scope of the game once you're in the swing of things, I'd say go for it. But start small and go from there. I think people tend to underestimate how difficult making a game is. Lastly, since getting into game development and learning to code and all that jazz, there's something I've learned, and that's most game projects fail. That's a fact no matter the genre. It's not some silly yandere curse, but if you're super invested in the niche of yandere games, of course you're only going to notice when the yandere games specifically are failing, and not the million other games outside the genre failing. I think overall, if we want a better chance of seeing success, us devs need to be a lot more civil to one another. Drama is tanking your project, and that sucks. We shouldn't be trying to drag each other down. Like, once I have a playable build for Ashes, I invite anyone to play it, and you're welcome to say it sucks. But trying to sabotage or hurt the project because you don't like it, with all due respect, you would be such a buttface for that. When I see another yandere project show up on my FYP, I just feel so excited. I tell my head dev, like, someone's making another yandere project! I'm so excited! Don't let some some silly curse stop you from making the Yandere game of your dreams. Get started, even if you've never made a game before. Starting with a smaller scope game as practice is a pretty decent way to learn. Hell, there's games out there that teach you how to code. And from what little I understand, if you know one coding language, it's pretty easy to pick up another. So go on out there and get started! A little thing I wanted to add too that I didn't put in the script is, Ashes isn't setting out to be better than Yandere Simulator, be better than any other Yandere game. I've never made a game before starting Ashes, and I do want to say that, like, I'm just trying to make the best game I can be. I'm focused on my own paper, I'm not looking at anybody else's, and I'm not comparing myself to other games. I'm not saying you guys can't, obviously do whatever the fuck you want. You know, it's just one of those things. I feel like that should be typically the mentality of any dev, is like, just worry about your project and don't be so fixated on anybody else's. I don't care what Yandere Simulator's doing. I don't care what any other Yandere game is doing. I don't care what fucking Super Mario Brothers is doing. I'm focused on me. And I promise to make the best game I can make. And I hope you guys will follow along the journey of making a game, because it's been such a wild ride. It's been so fun. I've had a lot of fun, and there's so much things I've learned, and I'm really excited. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hey, just a little reminder to like and subscribe. If you're interested in funding our project, please do look at our Ko-fi.